This morning on Sunrise, a landmark gun control measure under attack. The arguments made to block one of the toughest gun control laws in the country. Plus, it's not even legal for retail sale, but that hasn't stopped dozens of people from lining up to buy magic mushrooms in downtown Portland. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for our Saturday forecast.
It looks nice. Good morning.
It's beautiful
Again,
out.
we've been showing lots of wonderful sky cameras here. Let me show you another one. Now the sun's coming up just a little bit higher over the Oregon Coast Range, so we can get some glimpses of that daylight out there on Cascade Head. This is the live look from the Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. Thank you very much. Yes, and the other thing, if you look closely here with the breakers coming in, a lot of whitewater there, and the east wind's just chopping them down, so lots of spray there. The east wind is being felt at the Oregon coast this morning, and of course it's being felt here in Portland as well. The sky trying to clear out. We're 38 degrees last check at PDX. East wind sustained at 15 miles an hour. East wind sustained out in Troutdale at 28 miles an hour, and that east wind is being felt along some parts of the Oregon coast this morning. 37 Hillsborough, 35 King City, Sherwood. You're not feeling the east wind this morning, so you're feeling cold at 29, and it's really cold east of the Cascades right now. Burns waking up to 6 degrees. The plan for today, plenty of sunshine, plenty of east wind for most of us, and daytime highs probably getting into the lower 40s. Tim, I do have a chance of some rain or mixed rain and snow in the Portland forecast tomorrow. I'm going to walk you through that coming up in just a few minutes.
Look forward to hearing more. Thanks, Chris. Well, the fate of Oregon's landmark gun control measure now sits in the hands of a judge. Oregonians passed the measure in November, but opponents who argue it violates the Constitution quickly filed legal challenges. A judge will rule on one case next week. The plaintiffs in this case say Measure 114 violates the rights of people to bear arms. The biggest point of contention is the ban on magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. The Oregon Attorney General's office defended the measure, saying the Second Amendment is not an absolute right and that the state does have the ability to regulate firearms.
Right now, our ability to enforce the magazine limits is none. We cannot. Not only do we not have the staffing to enforce magazine capacities, but right now I believe personally it's unconstitutional.
The Supreme Court has recognized the states retain some ability to make regulations when there are new social ills and new technology.
Measure 114 is scheduled to go into effect next Thursday. The judge says she will make a decision by Tuesday at the latest. Well, it has been 2 years since Oregon voters passed Measure 109, allowing for the use of magic mushrooms in certain therapeutic settings. It did not legalize retail sales, but that didn't stop sites like this. Friday, a line extended around the block at a Portland business illegally selling psilocybin. Here's KGW's Alma McCarty.
In downtown Portland, news spread fast this week about a particular business selling a particular product. Signage inside the store and a couple months back outside the building indicated one could buy psilocybin here at Shroom House. The owner of the business declined to speak on camera, as did the customers lining up down the street and around the block. But here's the thing. Retail psilocybin sales aren't exactly legal. When Measure 109 passed in 2020, voters approved the use of psilocybin in a licensed facility with a licensed facilitator. This after a 2-year rule development period.
I still think a lot of people have reached out thinking that this is a dispensary model, or that people will be able to go in and purchase psilocybin and take it with them off-site. We also know that that's not a part of what ORS 475A created.
ORS 475A being the specific psilocybin regulation law. Angie Albee leads the team putting the rules in place. She explains that work isn't done. Oregon Psilocybin Services, a part of the Oregon Health Authority, has until December 31st to finalize the systems and processes for licensing and regulation of the psilocybin products and services. OHA confirms there are no licensed facilitators or service centers at this time in the state. When January 2nd rolls around, they'll start accepting applications for 4 types of licensure. And even then, it will take time to get everything fully up and running.
You would need a licensed manufacturer to cultivate or process psilocybin products. You would need a licensed testing lab to test those products according to our requirements and rule. You would have to have then a licensed service center to sell that psilocybin product to, and then you would have to have licensed facilitators to be able to provide psilocybin services, which includes a preparation session, administration session, and integration session.
Alma McCarty reporting there will all be said we should expect to see service centers up and running around the second quarter of next year. As for Shroom House, operating outside the licensed system, a spokesperson with OHA stated criminal penalties are a law enforcement matter. Portland police say the narcotics and organized crime units are aware of the allegations. Well, up in Washington, Joe Kent's campaign is requesting a recount in the race for the 3rd Congressional District. The Republican lost to Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez by 2,600 votes. All counties have certified their election results this past week, and the Secretary of State's office will certify the statewide results by next Thursday. Kent's campaign says it will request a machine recount once certification is complete. Well, Gluesenkamp-Perez's campaign reacted to the announcement in a press release, calling Kent a sore loser who is stringing along supporters with false hope. Well, we have an update on that big landslide on Highway 30 about 20 miles east of Astoria. ODOT says the highway will remain closed into the weekend. It's hoping to reopen one lane with flaggers, but can't say when that'll happen. There's still a lot of debris to remove, and workers need to repair a damaged guardrail as well. Well, the Woodburn School District is mourning the loss of a student killed blocks from school. The 11th grader who goes to Woodburn High School was hit by a train on the Front Street overpass Friday morning. Woodburn police say the 17-year-old was walking on the tracks when the train heading north hit the student in the back. The district is providing grief counselors to students and staff who need someone to talk to. Well, the Portland Thorns need a new head coach. After just 1 year on the job, Coach Rhian Wilkinson announced her resignation. It all stems from her relationship with a player. Wilkinson released a statement on social media saying she and a player formed a friendship that turned into more complex emotions. But she did emphasize it never turned physical. An investigation by the league and Players Association ultimately determined Wilkinson did not violate any sort of policies, but keeping her position as head coach was a different story.
Essentially, she has lost the trust and confidence of the rest of the team and is unable to move forward in the role.
Now, Wilkinson's resignation comes just one day after Thorns owner Merritt Paulson announced he's selling the club. That's due to a months-long investigation that revealed a toxic culture of sexual, emotional, and verbal abuse within the Thorns organization. Multnomah County health officials are asking for your help to curb the recent rise in RSV, COVID, and flu cases. The county health officer is asking everyone to mask up indoors throughout at least the end of the year. This is not a mandate, but it is a request. Officials say this will give overwhelmed pediatric care units and emergency rooms a chance to catch up.
RSV, rhinovirus, enterovirus, influenza, all of these viruses are very familiar disease processes to the pediatric care community that are caring for these children. So this is not a crisis of the disease, this is a crisis of resources.
Now, in addition to masking, hand washing is more important than ever with RSV, which tends to spread on surfaces easier than COVID. Doctors also say to make sure you're only going to emergency departments for true emergencies. Well, there's another big issue at local hospitals. A new report details a crisis level of nursing shortages both in Oregon and nationally. Why so many are leaving the industry? That's coming up next.